open YouTube and YouTube. Good weekend. See you at fight. It's going to be a good one. Let's do it.
Dricus Du Plessis is aiming for nothing less than the title of the greatest MMA fighter to ever step inside the octagon.
This is the only thing I want to get out of this, is the fact that I want to be the greatest fighter ever. No doubt, I want to be the GOAT. That's what I'm chasing. That's when I started the sport, what I wanted to be. And I believe the only way to get to that, just to get into that conversation, is to fight the best of the best. And Khamzat Chimaev is the next best guy.
Ahead of his monumental fight against Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319, the South African middleweight champion has boldly declared his goal to become the greatest fighter ever, to secure his place in the GOAT conversation, and to leave a legacy that will inspire future generations. But to achieve this dream, Du Plessis first needs to overcome one of the most dangerous opponents in the sport today, Khamzat Chimaev.
There's no doubt. That is 100%. This is not a title fight where some people say, I think they should have given the shot to this guy or this guy or this guy. Everybody, this is the fight. And that's what I think a champion is, fighting the guy that people know is the next best guy. And that's what I plan on doing, always.
Many view this as Du Plessis' toughest test to date, and the pressure is on as he prepares to face the undefeated Chimaev. Despite being the current middleweight champion, Du Plessis enters the fight as the underdog, with many experts picking Chimaev to dominate. However, the 31-year-old South African isn't fazed by the doubters. Throughout his career, he has faced skepticism at every turn, only to silence his critics by delivering remarkable performances inside the octagon. Now, Du Plessis believes that if he can successfully defend his title and defeat Chimaev, it will take him one step closer to realizing his ultimate goal, becoming the greatest fighter to ever compete in MMA.
Talk to me about that main event, DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev.
I just don't get why Du Plessis has achieved so much, because and again, I say it sounds like, I keep saying it. Sometimes you can spar some, like new guys in the gym. It's like they don't have the experience, but they hit you because they do some crazy stuff. They can wing their hands and just do random stuff, and it lands because it's not a conventional punch or it's not a conventional kick. That's what Du Plessis represents for me, but at the highest level. But one thing he does exceptionally well is he knows how to grind out a win. He seems to find his way to success. I'm telling everybody, this will be the last time I bet against him. If he beats Khamzat, I'm never betting against him ever again. I'm literally ever again. I don't care if you lot are telling me he's going to be fighting John Jones.
The path to greatness isn't easy, and Du Plessis knows he still has a long way to go before he can enter the conversation with names like John Jones, George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, or Demetrius Johnson. These fighters are widely regarded as the best to ever compete, and Du Plessis is yet to prove that he can surpass them. But this fight against Chimaev is pivotal. A win would solidify his place among the best in the world and push him closer to his long-term goal of becoming the GOAT.
Who's your GOAT list?
GOAT list, that's a tough one. I mean, you can't ever deny John Jones. John Jones is years ahead of everybody, especially at heavyweight. And then, of course, Conor McGregor, massive inspiration for me. The guy that got me into the sport was Mirko Krokop. He was incredible. Anderson Silva was the guy that's the highlight reels that obviously you've seen me fight. It doesn't look like Anderson Silva, but I always tried. He just made it look like a video game. And then Gilbert Burns. He has the mentality of a champion. If you look at the fight with Bilal Muhammad, he was a very dominant champion. Well, he won his bout in dominant fashion. Decision, of course.
While Du Plessis has earned respect for his undefeated UFC record and his dominant title win, many in the MMA community are still not convinced that he belongs in the same conversation as the legends of the sport. Chimaev is widely seen as one of the most dangerous and well-rounded fighters in the UFC, and his combination of elite grappling and ferocious striking has made him a nightmare for many opponents. On the other hand, Du Plessis is known for his raw power, aggressive striking, and unwavering resilience, which have made him a threat in the middleweight division. However, Chimaev is a completely different animal, and to defeat him, Du Plessis will need to prove that he's not just a one-dimensional fighter, but a true all-around mixed martial artist.
Dricus, be honest with me. How do you beat Khamzat Chimaev?
Man, I've got plot armor.
You've got plot armor?
Bro, how do you prepare for me? I don't even know what I'm going to do.
You don't know what you're going to do in the octagon?
It could have been DDP by accident, DDP by falling piano. Maybe I draw a hole in the middle of the octagon, he falls through it.
A hole in the middle?
Absolutely. Maybe I blow up my thumb, hit him with it. I can win by a car crash. I'm a large hammer.
man, that will be there, that would be in the corner. Another DDP might just come into the octagon.
Yeah, that could happen.
Everybody says on paper, Khamzat beats me. How do I know? I can't even read.
You can't read.
Nah, but at the end of the day, my friend, it's DDP by whatever way.
Du Plessis' desire to become the GOAT is not new. He's been vocal about his ambitions since the beginning of his career. In a recent interview, he revealed that when he first entered the sport, he set out with one clear goal in mind: to be the greatest fighter ever. He believes that in order to be considered among the best, he must face the toughest opponents and prove himself in the octagon. He says Chimaev is the best challenge available at this moment. A victory over Chimaev would not only elevate Du Plessis' career to new heights, but also give him the credibility he needs to be taken seriously as a contender for the title of MMA's greatest fighter.
I just want to be one of the greatest to ever do this because it's unachievable. There's always going to be somebody else that says, no, GSP is the GOAT. Somebody that says Khabib's the GOAT. Somebody that says Anderson Silva. Some John Jones. I want to be an undeniable when it comes to being the best to ever do this, and definitely the greatest middleweight to ever do this.
Moreover, Du Plessis' head coach, Moran Visser, has been outspoken in his belief that Chimaev's wrestling is one-dimensional and that his striking game is lacking. While Chimaev has displayed impressive grappling, his stand-up game has been widely criticized by observers. Visser believes that Du Plessis has the tools to exploit this gap in Chimaev's skill set, especially considering Du Plessis' own well-rounded game. The South African champion has shown time and time again that he can dominate opponents both on the feet and on the ground. And Visser is confident that Du Plessis will be able to neutralize Chimaev's wrestling and inflict damage in these striking exchanges.
You can't think that you're gonna beat my guy coming with one thing, and that's wrestling. That guy's one-dimensional. You see me stand up. I won't even give him a pro license for his stand-up. It doesn't present any problem for us. We are the problem.
Obviously, this for me is the most important fight of my life, like everyone before that. So we are preparing like we've never prepared before. Yeah, I'm not going in there to fight his fight. I'm fighting my fight. Just like I dealt with Adesanya's striking, I dealt with Strickland's boxing, I'm going to deal with Khamzat's wrestling.
This prediction of Du Plessis' success is echoed by other figures in the MMA world. Gilbert Burns, a fighter who knows Chimaev better than most after facing him at UFC 273, has also expressed confidence in Du Plessis' chances. Burns went to war with Chimaev in one of the toughest battles of the latter's career, and although Burns lost the fight, he believes that Du Plessis has what it takes to win. Burns sees Du Plessis as a fighter who can take the punishment and keep coming forward, wearing down Chimaev as the fight progresses. Burns predicts that if the fight goes into the later rounds, Du Plessis' toughness, power, and cardio will be the difference makers, with a potential finish in the third or fourth round.
Official prediction: Khamzat Chimaev is minus 200 on Legends to beat Dricus Du Plessis. Moicano, who's your official pick here?
I will say Dricus Du Plessis.
I know Gilbert's rooting for DDP, but do you think he's going to pull it off?
When I look at the fight, that guy gets so freaking tired. He's that one speed fighter. He's gonna come like a freaking truck at you. I do believe he might take Dricus down. I don't think he's gonna get finished. I do believe Dricus is gonna fight through all that. Maybe a decision, but I do believe a late finish, third to fourth round. That's my prediction.
Despite these optimistic views, there are many who still believe that Chimaev will prove too much for Du Plessis. Former UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman has praised Chimaev's early aggression, but also noted that if Chimaev cannot finish Du Plessis in the first couple of rounds, he may struggle in the later rounds. Weidman believes that Du Plessis' unpredictability and relentless pressure will make him a difficult opponent for Chimaev, who has yet to go past 3 rounds in his career. Weidman said, Chimaev, he's that guy. He's the boogeyman for a reason. I think he's got to finish him in the first couple of rounds because I don't see him winning a decision. Dricus is just too much. He's all over the place. It's hard to track him down. You do not want to be tired against that guy going into the 5th round. He hasn't had that experience yet. As the fight approaches, many are intrigued by the mental and physical preparations both fighters have undergone. Chimaev had been working on refining his skills, especially in the stand-up department, and has been improving his composure in the cage. His corner has been stressing the importance of facing himself and staying composed, knowing that Du Plessis is a dangerous fighter who thrives in chaotic exchanges. Chimaev has made adjustments to his training camp, focusing more on extending the fight and being patient, rather than relying solely on his explosive bursts of aggression. On the other hand, Du Plessis has built his reputation on his raw energy and relentless fighting style. He has a reputation for overwhelming his opponents with his pace, and many believe that if Chimaev cannot finish him early, he will be in for a long night. The key to Du Plessis' success will likely lie in his ability to withstand Chimaev's early onslaught and drag the fight into deeper waters, where his cardio and ability to recover will come into play. Sean Strickland has noted that if Du Plessis can survive the initial pressure from Chimaev, he has a good chance of winning the fight. Strickland, who has experience dealing with wrestlers, believes that Du Plessis' stand-up game is superior to Chimaev's, and that his aggression will eventually overwhelm the challenger.
Go on then, you got to give me your thoughts on Dricus Khamzat, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. So I sparred. I fought Dricus. I fought Dricus. I fought. Dricus has better stand-up than Chimaev, but Chimaev has a pretty crazy grappling. Now I've been training with these daggy terrorists my entire life, so it's like I train with these. I know how to get up from these guys. I can withstand the storm. I don't know if he's encountered that level of wrestling to where it might get him a little off guard. But if he could handle it, get up and work his way up. It's kind of hard because it's a long time ago, but Brad took him down and held him down. Actually took him down. But Brad took him down and held him down. So it's like, he just really has to be ready for an extreme amount of pressure on the ground. And if he can withstand that, he's unbeaten.
Adding another layer to the intrigue is the potential shift in strategy that Chimaev has made in his training camp. Darren Till, a former UFC fighter who has worked with Chimaev, believes that the Chechen fighter has refined his approach for this fight, especially in terms of pacing. Till acknowledges that Chimaev's wrestling is his greatest strength, but he also warns that if Chimaev cannot finish Du Plessis early, he will have to dig deep and deal with the intense pressure that Du Plessis brings in the later rounds. He said, "I think it's a brilliant fight. If Dricus can weather the first 2 rounds, he's got a good chance of beating Khamzat, but I think Khamzat's going to be ready for the 5 rounds. I trained with Arman Tsarukyan out in Thailand. Arman trains very intelligently. He's probably got Khamzat training the same as well, so I'm looking forward to the fight. Maybe he had a little bit with Gilbert, but no. It's a very tough start." Finally, the fight holds significant implications for the trajectory of both fighters' careers. If Du Plessis successfully defends his title and beats Chimaev, it will put him firmly in the conversation for the GOAT status. His victory would showcase his ability to defeat one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport and add another monumental achievement to his legacy. However, should Chimaev prevail, it will only solidify his place as one of the most dominant fighters in the UFC. And Du Plessis will have to regroup and work his way back into contention. As the countdown to UFC 319 continues, fans and pundits alike are eagerly awaiting what promises to be an electrifying showdown between 2 of the best fighters in the world.